Julius Caesar didn't tip off a single Roman citizen before he crossed the Rubicon. The Senate had their marble escape routes already mapped and their bags already packed. The common folk found out when the legion boots were already on the cobblestones and the city gates were swinging shut. 2,000 years later, same play, different uniforms. Right now, buried deep underneath the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia, there is a fully operational underground city. Cafeterias, sleeping quarters, decontamination chambers, months of food and water stacked floor to ceiling. A fully functioning shadow government locked, loaded, and ready to ride the moment yours stops breathing. You didn't build it, brother. You funded every last nail with your tax dollars. And your name ain't on the guest list. Never was. This ain't tinfoil hat territory. This is straight out of the congressional record. Declassified FEMA documents you can pull up on your own screen right now. This is the briefing they deliberately kept off your radar, because a population that knows the bug-out plan is a whole lot harder to manage than one standing in the dark waiting to be told which direction to walk. Tonight, we crack the vault wide open. The bunkers, the priority lists, the city's already written off as acceptable losses before the first shot ever leaves the barrel, and the tier system that decides who gets extracted and who gets left topside. Your city is already on one of those lists. Time to find out where you rank. The Spartans built their walls out of warriors, not stone. Washington built theirs 60 feet underground, then shook your hand on television every 4 years like none of it existed. 3 facilities, 3 levels of guaranteed survival, all funded out of your back pocket, 0% built with your family in mind. Mount Weather, Virginia, hunkered deep inside the Blue Ridge Mountains, FEMA's full continuity headquarters. Living quarters, hardened communications, decontamination systems, and enough chow to keep senior officials comfortable for months while the surface burns. Activates automatically when threat levels go critical. No vote, no press conference, no courtesy call to the folks back home. Raven Rock, Pennsylvania, the underground Pentagon, carved into solid granite, engineered to eat a direct nuclear strike and keep the entire chain of command breathing. While your neighborhood deals with whatever hell just broke loose topside, the brass are already 60 feet down running the war like it is just another Tuesday. Cheyenne Mountain, Colorado, NORAD, 25-ton blast doors mounted on springs to swallow shockwaves whole, built with one purpose: the nuclear command structure survives no matter what gets leveled on the surface. And if all of that gets compromised, the E-6B Mercury is already wheels up, the doomsday plane, airborne command riding at 40,000 feet. The chain never breaks, not for anything on this earth. The Apache scout never waited to be briefed by the cavalry. He rode out ahead, read the land himself, and came back knowing exactly where the threat was camped. Those are their camps. Now you know where they bug out when the wheels come off. FEMA runs a regional priority hierarchy that has never once appeared on a billboard or been debated at a town hall. But it is real, it is active, and it ranks exactly who gets resources when everything hits the fan. Priority 1, military installations and strategic assets. First, no debate. Priority 2, critical infrastructure, power grids, telecom, fuel refineries. Priority 3, high population civilian areas, only if resources remain after the first 2. That word "if" is carrying the weight of 330 million American lives on its back, Chief. Dead last, rural and isolated communities. Official government language calls them expected to be self-sufficient. Translation, you were never in the evacuation plan. They accounted for your absence before the ink was dry. The Roman Annona fed Caesar's legions first, and the citizens got whatever scraps were left at the bottom of the barrel. History does not repeat itself, but it runs the same play with different jerseys every single generation. National Guard mobilization takes 4 to 12 hours. Federal deployment requires a presidential order. In the first 60 minutes of a real crisis, military support to civilian areas is flat zero. You dial 911, overwhelmed. You look for local law enforcement, stretched past every breaking point. The first hour is entirely on you. The government ran that exact scenario in their simulations and built their bug-out infrastructure around it. They just never sent you the memo. Now here is the tier list. The cold, hard survival math military planners have been running since the Cold War. Find your city, know your number. F tier, primary targets. Most dangerous 60 minutes anywhere on American soil. Washington, D.C. Target number 1 in every simulation ever run. 6 million metro residents. Every exit corridor gridlocks within minutes. The government has underground cities for their people. For everyone else, the advice has always been the same. Be gone before it kicks off. Norfolk, Virginia. Largest naval base on the planet. Civilian neighborhoods stitched directly into the target zone. A strike hits 300,000 civilians, whether intended or not. Colorado Springs. NORAD, buried in granite a few miles out. Living next to the most hardened facility in North America also makes your address one of the highest value targets on the entire strike list. Omaha, Nebraska, United States Strategic Command. The nuclear arsenal nerve center runs through a Midwestern city most Americans could not find on a map. That obscurity is entirely by design. C tier, high risk, multiple vulnerabilities stacking fast. New York City, massive financial target value, island geography, 4 bridges, 4 tunnels, 8 million people. Full evacuation exceeds 72 hours under perfect conditions. Real world, Manhattan seals itself in under 3 hours. The Romans called it insula, surrounded, on your own with whatever you brought. Houston, energy capital of the country. Hurricane Rita already proved this highway network cannot handle a mass bugout. 3.7 million people tried. 24 hours of dead gridlock. And that was for a storm they saw coming 5 days early. War does not give you 5 days. Los Angeles. The ports move roughly 40% of all American imports. Take them out and you sever half the country's supply chain in a single strike. Basin geography traps the population like a bull. Locks up within 30 minutes. B tier, moderate risk. Chicago, Atlanta, Dallas, Fort Worth. Inland positions, multiple exit corridors, lower primary target value. A tier, lower risk. Denver, Minneapolis, Nashville. Deep inland, distributed infrastructure, multiple viable bug-out routes. Now here is what the government's own simulations show happens in the first 60 minutes. Minute 0. The grid does not explode. It starts glitching wrong. Cyber attacks slam SCADA systems controlling power routing, water treatment, and pipeline pressure nationwide. It reads like random, unrelated technical failures on a quiet Tuesday. Nobody connects the dots fast enough. Minute 5. Full cascade kicks off. Power drops. Water pressure bleeds out. The 2003 Northeast blackout. One software bug in Ohio knocked out power for 55 million people across 8 states. That was one accident. Now picture it targeted and coordinated across a dozen grid nodes simultaneously. Minute 15. Panic window blows wide open. Grocery shelves empty in 2 to 3 hours. Payment infrastructure collapses with the grid. Credit cards are dead plastic. ATMs are dark. The average American is carrying less than $50 cash on their body right now. That is their total buying power when the system goes offline. Cell towers run 4 to 8 hours on backup battery. After that, you are functionally alone in the dark, even if your neighbor is 20 feet away. Minute 60. The government is already underground, locked in, and fully operational. Priority list executing in order. And you are exactly wherever you are, with exactly whatever you prepared. The Vikings called it weird. Destiny. Forged not by what the world throws at you, but by every decision you made before the storm showed up at your door. Your weird is being written right now. In what you stored. In where you planted your feet. In what you know that the person standing next to you in line has absolutely no idea about. They built the bunkers. They drew up the lists. They ran the simulations hundreds of times and filed every page under official use only. The Roman legions lived by 4 words. Civis pacem, para bellum. You want peace, you prepare for war. Every single day before the war finds you. Washington prepared. For Washington. Their bags were packed long before you ever heard there was a reason to worry. Now it's your turn, brother. Lock and load your preparation before the window closes. The clock has been running the whole time. The only question that has ever mattered on this soil since the first Minuteman picked up his rifle at Lexington is what you did while the clock was still ticking in your favor. Subscribe and stay locked in. Next week we pull the 5 critical infrastructure vulnerabilities the government flagged in their own reports and quietly left wide open. The gaps are still there, and you need to know exactly where they are. Stay sharp, stay locked, stay ready.